everyone, it's starynight.e. I'm finally back with another video after a while of inactivity, so yay! I did mention in a previous post that I'd post some progress videos on the visual novel that I'm working on, which is what I'm doing now, I suppose. I'm currently using the Ren'py visual novel engine along with Clip Studio Paint and Live 2D if I can get to animating at some point to piece things together. But I'm honestly just learning as I go, so I can't say I'm like a Ren'py professional or anything. But there are some common mistakes that I found myself making along the way, so I thought I could share them with you guys so we can learn and improve. So number one, using text flags for input. A really cool feature of Ren'py that I found is the ability to use text variables as flags to maybe set off certain alarms in the program. An example of a way this could be used is if the player inputs a certain name or some sort of code into a text input. The game can accommodate to that and open up a secret route or some sort of new menu choice later on in the code. So here's an example you can see on your screen. The $ marks variable screen next to it as a variable, and then it equals brackets, quotation marks, true. The brackets and quotation marks, it's similar to when you're defining characters at the start of a script. It just basically puts that as a text variable, which can really be anything like apple, pear, pencil, whatever word you want. And then later on in the text, it doesn't have to be directly after. You can reference this, so if variable screen, you don't need a $, two equal signs, quotation marks, true, don't forget the colon, then it shows certain dialogue, or else, in other words, if it is not true, then it will show a different version of the dialogue below. I think this is a really cool way to personalize your game, to make it seem more interactive so that it has certain options in reaction to the initial ones. You can kind of create a spider web of cause and effect. On that note, this can also be done with player input. As you can see, variable player equals ren'py.input. That is opening up the opportunity for the player to type in something into the game. And then if player in, then in your brackets, quotations, and commas, a very long list of whatever you want to flag the game to do something specific. You can basically put in lists for that. It's very important to remember to put close the bracket at the end, and don't forget to put a colon, because Ren'py will make you go back to put a colon and scroll through your lines if you miss it. So number two, I guess, is that you can use B and I to put your Ren'py dialogue or menu choices into bold or italic text. As you can see on the screen, all you have to do is use the squiggly brackets with a B for bold or an I for italic inside your quotation brackets, so one at the start and then one at the end with a /, and then it should show up like this. So number three is to always use jump and label, or to not forget to use jump at the end of your menu choices. Although this one seems really simple, it's quite important, because if you miss the jump, or if you don't give a choice or a subsection a place to go to, it'll just continue on to whatever you have below it. So if you don't want that to happen, it's important to have a jump so that the script knows that you want it to go from this line and then to somewhere else, or some other place in the script. For those of you who don't know what jump and label are, basically all it is that jump takes you from one line of code and then it quite literally jumps to another point in the script. It'll jump to the point where you label it, so you label it as a variable. Let's say you label x, and if you say jump x, it'll keep running down the codes and then running down the code lines, and then when it hits jump x, it'll scan through the whole page till it finds label x, and then it'll continue going down the code lines from there. So number four, and the last one of this video, is that to input your variables, for example, the $ variables as we saw earlier, or player names or player input, all you have to do is use the square bracket and then the square brackets and type whatever your variable is named in between, and then that can show up in your dialogue, your menu options, or whatever other showable in-game variables you have. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. The speed paint you're seeing right now is one that I drew. I was hoping to implement some sort of library feature into my game so I could kind of make short comics or stories to flip through. So this is just a panel of one that I was recently working on that I managed to export the speed paint of. And that's all. You can find the links to the background music in the description. And have a nice day or night.